Can people just join the link? Like they can just hop on here and join it like that?
So they can chat with us on LinkedIn or YouTube, and then we'll drop a link for them to join if they want to, right? We'll send them a message.
I feel like LinkedIn should have an easier way for people to just drop in. Like they should have this.
Well, don't throw shade. We're live. You have to yell at
somebody. We are. That's right.
True.
There's like a 30-second delay on
remorse
LinkedIn.
window.
I'm just saying the algorithm's going to punish you if you're not careful.
All right.
I dare it too.
Big Brother's always watching.
Did it work though? That's the question.
Okay, yeah, I see it. I'm pulling it up on my phone.
No, I see it too.
Let me see. Let me close LinkedIn on my computer.
All right. So if you happen to stumble into this stream through LinkedIn or YouTube, we don't have a name for what we're doing right now. This water cooler talk, I kind of threw that out there. Jess had no idea what talking in a water cooler meant, so she looked.
Sorry, I'm Gen Z.
Have you seen a water cooler? It's a bygone era.
But I call it water dispenser because it makes much more sense.
Right? Maybe. I don't know.
If it doesn't cool your water, then I agree.
It does.
It also heats it up, so like.
So yeah, join us. You see the little banner at the bottom. We would love to chat with you. If you want to just pop in and say hi, ask us a question. I'm going to ask some questions of the people who are with us today, and we'll just have some conversation and have some fun. My first question is, Robert, are you ready to move?
Oh God. Oh, triggered me, buddy. Yeah, we so great. We had this. My wife she's a scientist. She's a professional. She's a licensed geologist in California. Her brain is just a very science brain, and mine is a very salesy brain. And so she had this great plan for like how to like box things up, and we got stickers for every room, and there's like this whole like this is how we're gonna attack. And I think it was night before. No, it was last night. We had new plan. Everything in a box. Like we're no longer saying like, hey, this room. We're just putting the address on the box. Like, just get it in the house, man, because we've got movers are coming in 4 days, and we're just looking around going like, man, there's still a lot of stuff here, and not in a box. So yeah, we're stressing out a little bit there, but it's gonna be great.
Oh man, you got it. It'll be done. Done. Yeah, Steve here. We could drop the. Let's see. I can invite Steve if you want to join us, Steve. You can.
Come on down, Steve.
There's a link now on LinkedIn if you want to join us. Oh well, I wish I was closer, Robert, so I could help you somehow, some way. I could certainly help unpack.
Yeah.
When you're in Nashville.
Well, yeah, I'm. It's so funny. We arrive the day that conference starts, so. I'm hoping to make it there Wednesday or Thursday to come see you. But it's gonna be quite the jaunt. It's the 6 days across the country with three children in the back. My wife and I actually bought those headphones that they use at like football games to communicate with the cameramen, so we could just like put those on and just ignore them. We're like, hey, look, they're strapped in. We gave them crackers. Let's just noise isolate and we'll do our own thing.
Like visions of National Lampoon's Family Vacation came to mind.
It's gonna be interesting.
Steve Brickner, the Kraken himself. How are you, sir?
Sir,
can you hear us? You're good. What's new in your world, man? Can you not hear us?
I don't know if he can hear us.
Well, he looks great.
He looks really great.
All right, sorry, I had the LinkedIn live still playing in the background. I was like, who the hell's talking?
The loop.
Steve, what's new in your world, brother?
Oh man, busy. We are finalizing the creation of a nonprofit called the Winter Haven Tech Council. So we are super busy with that. Getting ready to install officers and everything this next week. So we're trying to get the technology and business leaders together in the area and really just focus on how to bring the best talent out of the colleges that we have around here and keep them here rather than them going to Tampa or Orlando for jobs. So, talking about company cultures and what people should really be getting paid and what people should be expecting to get paid when they're coming out of college, rather than thinking they're going to come out and make $100,000 a year immediately. So setting expectations, we're helping shape curriculum in the colleges and stuff like that. So lots of stuff going with that and working on growth for Kraken as well.
Now, Steve, you've shared a little bit of your vision for this nonprofit with me and previous calls. So I'm excited to hear that it's still a focus and there's been some development there. For those who may be joining us virtually or watching this recording back later, if you have the patience for it, I'd say the name of the nonprofit you're forming again and give a little more of the context for what it is. I know you shared a little bit right now, but I think it was a little bit lost, like the geolocation and kind of the focus of it.
Yeah, so it's called the Winter Haven Tech Council. We are in Central Florida, Polk County to be specific. So we're kind of right in between Tampa and Orlando. So that means a lot of the young folks that are coming out of colleges that are here in Polk County, and we have some good ones. We've got Florida Polytechnic, we've got Polk State, we've got Florida Southern is here. So we've got some really, really good colleges, especially as far as sales and business, some good tech stuff coming out of Polytechnic. So people will come out of these colleges and they'll move to Tampa and Orlando, or they'll commute to Tampa and Orlando because of the pay disparity. So we're trying to bridge that gap and really just get people to stay here. We've got some really good tech companies growing here. And that's kind of the focus. We're going to do some fundraising for scholarships and things like that. So I think it's going to be a good project to get businesses and tech leaders kind of on the same page.
Well, very fun, very, very important work you guys are working on there. Lyle, welcome. So glad that you're here. If you want to hop on screen and say hello and chat with us, don't be shy. So that's exciting, Steve. Very much exciting. I wanted to kind of spark a little bit of a conversation here because of a revelation that I had recently, and I would love everyone's thoughts and insight, yours as well, Steve. And it's going to start with a brief story. And I know Robert appreciates my stories. He's like taking a deep breath as he's like, all right, buckle up. Here we go.
Can you define brief for me first? Just because I'm curious.
Let's put some ground rules down.
I'm going to control myself. It'll be under 2 minutes, less. It'll be a minute. All right. So I used to run a theater company, and we built custom stage platforms, like modular stage platforms for this theater company. And when 2020 kicked everyone in the pants, those stage platforms ended up in a storage unit that I've been paying like $150 a month for like 3 years. Finally got rid of the storage unit, and now those platforms are in my garage. And I've been trying to sell them on Facebook Marketplace. And I initially asked $800 for 8 platforms, $100 a platform. They are really sturdy, barely used. A lot of lumber and a lot of effort went into building them. And I know for the right person, they are absolutely worth $100 a platform, but no one bought them. And no one is buying them, and they're still in there. So what I've been doing is I've been reducing my price, and now I am offering them for $200 for all 8. For all 8. It's such a damn good steal. But it got me thinking about like, okay, so all right, that's the story part, Robert. I think that was close to a minute. I was maybe over by 30.
Yeah, you're good, man. That's great.
Oh, we got Marivi from Indiana. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And Lyle, Marivi, I would love your guys' thoughts and comments on this as well. And if you want to join the live, I can drop the link in the chat for you, and you'd be welcome to join us and give your on-screen thoughts. But this was the thought that I had relating to this story, okay? I wanted these pallets gone. The right buyer absolutely would spend $800, but I was spending a little bit of effort to get it in front of just anyone who would take them from me, right? And Robert, I know you and I have conversations with MSPs all the time. It's like, am I overcharging? Am I charging too much? Am I not charging enough? Why are people not buying these incredibly valuable pallets, right? And my revelation was the wrong people on Facebook Marketplace are looking at my pallets. They don't want my stage platforms because there's no value for them. But to the right buyer, absolutely. All right. And this all tied into IT sales somehow in my brain. Discuss.
I think we all just froze. What was the question again?
Well, that was the revelation I had related to selling something valuable to the wrong buyer, right? It's not valuable at all to them. And I think a lot of service providers fall into this trap where they're like, hey, look at this incredibly valuable offering I have for you, but you're selling it to the wrong person. And so they're like, what, $800 for these stage platforms? You're asking something stupid of me. Discuss.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, to some people, I mean, let's take maybe it's too turn of the century, but baseball cards or basketball cards. Somebody that doesn't care anything about them, a Michael Jordan rookie or a Babe Ruth, maybe not so much a Babe Ruth, but Michael ain't gonna worth shit. Goddamn piece of paper. But to the right person, they'd spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of it.
Correct. That's a great example.
It's one of those high level things where it's like, you know, someone sitting down there like, hey man, what's, you know, it's like it was a joke from church. You're like, hey, you know, who's this person that's like he's brown and furry and he runs up trees and eats nuts. And you're like, well, I know the answer is supposed to be Jesus, but it really sounds like a squirrel. And so like that's kind of I feel like this happens a lot when people talk about like product market fit, and they think that like the product is the most important part of product market fit, and it's 50% of the problem. The other part is the market fit. Right. And like we hear this all the time. MSPs are like, man, people have a cybersecurity problem, and so we approach a solution. We come up with a solution painstakingly for how to solve that problem. But we're not really sure if that's the way the market wants to solve that problem. And so, you know, there's this tension between like what they need versus what they want. And that's the danger of the product market fit. And it's so easy to just go like, oh, product market fit. Cool. I checked the box. Squirrel. No problem. I know the answer. But the nuance in how you actually solve that is really tempting. It's really challenging. Sorry, not tempting. But my version of that is I was moving out of my house 5 years ago in Castro Valley, and my dad at one point had brought me, because I had a garage, and he brought me this giant server cabinet. He's like, I just picked them up. These guys had them for free on Craigslist, and I went and got them. And do you want one? And I'm like, sure, whatever. And it's like this whole like full rack with ventilation system, like server cabinet. Why wouldn't I want that? I'm sure I'll find a use for it. Well, like 2 years later, I have no use for it, and I'm moving out. And so I wheel this thing to the top of my driveway, and I put free on it, and it sat there for a week, and I got a letter from my HOA. Like, hey, you can't just put your garbage on the street.
Stop it.
I turned it around, I moved it to the other corner, and I put for sale $250 and then my phone number, and someone stole it that night. And so, like, there's this, it's like there's this tension of product market fit. Like, sometimes the product isn't the problem, you know. You're really like,
you're killing Louise.
I was like, thank God, man, this thing's gone. But yeah, there's that product market fit. It's not always about the product. It's not always about the market. It's about how you fit them together.
You're absolutely right.
That's beautiful.
Lyle, you're here. You're on the screen. I'm so glad you're here. How are you, man?
All good. Busy, but all good.
What's got you busy these days?
Everything and anything from from Windows 10 upgrades where we're I think 600 to go.
Only 600?
Yeah, only 600. Yeah.
Have those knocked out by this afternoon. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no problem. Piece of cake across 150 clients, and nobody has the budgets to do it. So whatever, no problem. No, just everything. Things up here in Canada are a little bit different than they are down there. Yeah, cybersecurity. What's that? No, they won't hit us with anything. So we don't need to do anything.
Who targets Canada? Who does that? Right?
Yeah, just a bunch of nice people, right?
All right, Lyle, I'd love your perspective on this particular topic: product market fit. Selling the wrong things to the wrong buyer. Maybe there is incredible value in the thing, but for some reason, and you just said it, like in Canada, why is it so hard to sell cybersecurity? I venture a guess, if I were to ask you, Lyle, that the cybersecurity services you provide are incredibly valuable in your opinion, but sometimes buyers don't see it. Why? Talk to me.
I'll go with education. I'll go with most of the cyber chat that's going on. There are no nails. Nobody's getting a slap on the wrist. So everybody just thinks that, yep, AV, that's okay. Backup, maybe. But then it's the conversation of, okay, well, if something does happen, how long are you going to be down for? What's feasible for you, Mr. Customer? Those are the conversations that I find a lot of people are not having.
That's right.
Right.
Dennis, welcome. Absolutely sold. I will give you all 8 of them for $300 this afternoon. if you've got a truck.
I like the guy who said $300 and I'll come pick them up for you.
Oh yeah.
I turned that into a business opportunity.
There you go.
That's really all this was. Is this whole stream is just a way for me to try and get these
clean out the garage.
Dennis, you have been hither and yon and all over the country these many weeks. You're back in town now, I see.
For about 2 more weeks, and I'm back out again. A lot of travel lately. Yep.
Wait, 2 more weeks? Am I going to see you at ChannelCon?
No, I've a different conference, but same week.
All right, where are you? Yep. Where are you going to be?
I'll be at down in Tampa at good old CyberFox headquarters.
All right. Okay. Very good. We'll enjoy Tampa. Maybe I'll see you at Upstate Channel Club. It's going to be the Thursday before you leave. So wink.
Yep. That sounds good.
Dennis, I don't know if you caught much of the discussion, but the whole product market fit, selling things that are valuable to people who don't understand the value, and they look at your number and they're like, what? I guess I don't need cyber. What's your perspective on this?
I mean, gosh, that's kind of that's the nutshell of all the problems of being an MSP. Trying to sell to somebody who doesn't want your product. It's really a hard thing. Convincing people, teaching people, training people that they actually do. And it's so refreshing when you actually get to the point in business where you start to you cobble together 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 20, depending on your size, of clients that are what we would call good clients that you don't have to argue with, that you don't have to sell to. They pretty much on board with you. It's tough. It's tough. I've gotten to the point where I try not to sell when you read the room and you realize that their eyes are glazing over and they don't really care. It's time to really have some deep introspection and say, do I really want to spend my time, waste my time trying to get these guys on our team, because we're just going to be fighting them the whole time that they are part of your organization. And as you're serving them, you're going to be doing a disservice to your own internal staff.
That is an entirely other rabbit trail, which may be one that's fun to run down a little bit. The cost of successfully selling the wrong client can sometimes be the most expensive thing. And I see Robert rolling his head. He's like, yes. But before we go down that rabbit hole, Steve, you've been here since the beginning and you haven't given your feedback on this topic yet. So I'm going to drag you into the middle of the room. I want your perspective on this.
Yeah, well, I have certain feelings about selling altogether. I mean, for me, it's relationship building first and getting to understand if they're even going to talk to me about a solution. And there's a lot of talk in the industry. Charge $300 a seat. $300 a seat. Well, not every market will bear $300 a seat, and not every client is going to do it. So, sometimes you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm going to build my solutions around what what the clients in this area will pay for and still allow me to make a good margin. $300 a seat is great if you can get it. But when you have incumbents in the area that are charging $80 a seat full
Right.
stop, it
That's right.
makes it pretty difficult. And that's another thing that we're trying to do with this tech council is to help people understand where their pricing should be. I don't care if you're my competitor or not. Your low pricing and your substandard service is fucking me in the ass. Excuse my French, but that's the real case, because I can't. It's hard to build a good practice when you have people that are these guys are okay, but they're only charging us $80 a seat.
Yeah, no.
So that's
good
difficult.
insight, good thoughts all around. When deciding what to charge, right? Because I've been in conversations with IT providers, and not just IT providers, entrepreneurs and business owners of all types. Like, what should the number be? What should the magic number be? And I'm not going to steal your thunder, Jess, but I am going to say Jess and I have been having conversations about this recently, because Jess is developing an exciting side project, and I'm not going to spoil it. But we've been working together on what should we charge, and what should she charge, and what should she do? Kind of, do you remember what I told you, Jess? I'm putting you on the spot now.
We talked about a lot of things.
We did.
I remember that exact sentence.
Yeah. So the first step in deciding what you should charge is what are your costs? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so that's the first thing, and then you need to make money, right? Then the next thing you need to understand is, what will your customer pay? But you can't answer that one, what will your customer pay, until you know who your customer is, right? And this is a big challenge, a big fault I see a lot of IT providers fall prey to, is some don't. And I'm not saying any of you gentlemen have this challenge or not, but it's not easy. Who needs IT? Well, everybody needs IT. Well, some people will pay $80 a seat for IT. Is that your customer? Some people will spend $1,400 a seat for IT. Is that your customer? Why are they spending this versus that? And what's the outcomes? And I'm going to make a statement here. And Robert, I want your thoughts on this. The number is secondary. It's very rarely price. That's very rarely the reason your customer, your real customer, doesn't buy from you. All right, tell me I'm wrong, Robert.
I wish I could, but this is the real thing. If I could wave a magic wand and you could charge $2,000 a seat, but there's only 30 people in 30 businesses in the country that would pay that, but I could guarantee you all of them. Wouldn't that be a pretty good MSP? Okay. So the problem is not price. The problem is not the customers. It's understanding the mix, that secret sauce. And I call it, at the Growth OS, we call it the target. It's this idea that in the military and in competitive shooting, they say aim small, miss small. And I didn't know what that meant until my COO kind of clarified me on this. But it's this idea that don't just look at the target. Look at the smallest discernible detail of the target and aim for that. Don't just go, here's the target, here's the bullseye. Get as detailed as you can at the center of the bullseye, the fleck of paint, the dust on there, and aim at that. And this is one of the big challenges we have. People come up with an ideal client profile, and I don't think that's what we need. It's part of it. But it's if this is my target profile, what's the dead center of that? What's the smallest fleck I can speak towards when I'm targeting my potential clients? And then do I have the courage to say, and if you're not that target, I'm out? And that's the biggest challenge MSPs have, is they don't understand what the dead center of the target is for them. And so they end up saying, man, I'll take anything I can get. And then everything follows that. All the business decisions, your SOPs, the way you set up your help desk, the way you hire, everything comes after that. And that's half of the problem. Then here's the other half of the problem I see all the time is people will invest countless hours in learning how to be this type of salesperson, this business executive, this owner that will challenge and teach and educate and move prospects from where they are to where they need to be to sign an agreement and for us to do a good job. And then we take that entire tower of Jenga blocks that we've built on, no, it's not your way, it's my way. It's going to be painful. It's going to be expensive. We're going to move here. And they go, okay. And they sign a contract. And then we send them a proposal after their onboarding for the top 3 things. And they go, I don't want to pay that. And we go, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll give you a discount, no problem. Oh, that's okay, you don't have to do them. And we knock over that Jenga tower. And we completely undercut our ability to serve our clients because we didn't transfer any of that institutional sales knowledge and power onto the delivery team or the account management team. Okay, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. This was great.
No, this is great. So I want disclaimer. Robert doesn't work for an MSP, though he has very successfully in the past. I definitely don't, though I represent about 35 MSPs nationwide. But I don't run an MSP. But we have the privilege of having 3 MSP badasses on the call right now. You heard me get on some soapboxes. You've heard Robert get on some soapboxes. Lyle, Steve, Dennis, or anyone in the chat, I'm wondering if you would call bullshit on any of this or say, maybe challenge it a little bit or say, oh, that's really great to hear you say that. However, you're not thinking
the hard
that.
thing about hard things, man. Let's get into the details.
And I'm basically setting a layup up for you, Dennis, because I know you've got strong opinions here.
Boy, do I. Sometimes I wish I could start over my MSP with what I know now. I started as I don't know about the rest of the guys here. I think this is probably true about Steve for sure. But I started as basically a tech entrepreneur. The technical work is what attracted me, and that brought a whole host of warts that I inadvertently attached to my business in the first 5. We probably made it a conscious decision about 4 years ago to start standardizing on like the whole buzzword of the ideal customer profile, trying to find verticals that we specialize in. And it's been revolutionary for our business, but man, it's taken 4 years of work just to undo those first 5-8 years of mistakes. Because I was hungry, just like Robert said. You take whatever. If you want me to drive 50 miles to change a mouse out, I'll do it if you're paying me. And then you just slowly grow a team and you get bigger. It's different for each MSP because each story is different. If you're an MSP that's in existence because of mergers and acquisitions, it's going to be a lot different story for you than for the technical founder. But for the most part, that's my story, Robert. What you're talking about, it's hard to unravel several years worth of bad decisions, but you have to start somewhere and you have to start doing it. And it's been very, very helpful for us. It's been painful in some ways, but it's been helpful. And I swear, if I had to start over again, I'd pick one vertical. I'd pick one specific, like you talked about, aim small. And I would go after that one vertical, and I would become the best at that particular vertical of anybody else. And I wouldn't try and be all things to all people anymore. That's tough. And I'm sure some of these other guys have similar stories or can share the sympathies.
Yeah,
easy to say, really hard to do.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Which is why, it's even easier for Robert and Scofie to say these things because we don't have to try. Jess, so glad that you're here. I know you got to drop off. And by the way, you're not necessarily expected to hang out with us the whole time. And we're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon ourselves also. So glad that you're here. Steve, Lyle, do you want to add to this conversation? Have any thoughts?
I can chime in. So I've been doing this for 24 years. I was Chuck in the truck, if you want to call it there, for a lot of the years, and then started adding staff, started going. We're now 2 locations, 17 people daily in office. If I wanted to start it over, would I? Yeah, I would do it. I would change things completely. Would I go after one specific vertical? No, but I can disagree with Dennis. That's fine. I would pick a few, but yeah, I would then go specifically after that one section of that one vertical, so that you could then, dive right in. It's the same product that you're selling to that customer, to that customer, to that customer, versus giving them a bronze, a silver, and a gold version of that product. You know, the biggest thing we see these days is, are we firing the clients that we're just selling VoIP to? We could, but you look at it at the end of the day, we said, okay, maybe we're making $600 at the end of the year on a VoIP contract for a small little office, but it's $600. It's not horrible, but we got called to the carpet because we don't have control of their domain. But we were told to work with the web developer. Well, for 3 weeks, we worked with the web developer. Yeah, it wasn't them who actually had control of the domain. It was their other IT company that we didn't even know about. But, you know, you can only ask so many questions. So the question is how do you, I would just say, concentrate on the newer stuff coming in, and you let the other ones go as they go.
Yeah. A lot of good insight passed around here. Luis, I would love to get a thought or two from you on all of this.
What, on the spot? I disassociated bad.
We also, I think we've got Paul who's wanting to join, one of our partners out of Minnesota. So we might have him hop in, but we are running out of time. While we kind of start to go towards a wrap up, really glad that you all hopped in to join us. This was a kind of a spontaneous thing that we're thinking about doing. Is it spontaneous if you schedule them? No, maybe a couple times a month, but we don't know what to call it. Water cooler talk. Some people don't know what that means. Does it need a label? Maybe not. Should we just hang out? But is this valuable to you, those of you who are here? I'm getting a thumbs up from Lyle.
Yeah, I think it was. It's always good to talk to other MSPs, right? I mean, even when we disagree, that's what makes it great. I was actually surprised when it came across my phone that you were having this, and then I saw my buddy Steve, and I was like, hey, okay, it's just some kind of a open forum here, so I jumped in. But yeah, I can see this being kind of a cool place. Just come out and hang out with other guys and have some chats, just like we do at the conferences. Why can't we do it online?
100%. Steve, I know you had to hop off camera for some reason. I'm going to remove you into the background for a minute. If you want to pop in to say goodbye, you can. Just wave your hand or something. When you turn your camera back on, I'll pop you back in. But we are technically out of time. And he's back. Yeah, glad you're here, Steve. We're not going to send out notifications when we do these. We all of us get invited to a bajillion webinars and live streams all the time. This is meant to be more spontaneous, but we're glad those of you who joined us.
I would like to say something. I find it really interesting going from people like Robert just said, specificity, and Joe Rojas specificity, to the wider net. And now I do have a question. Do you think that has something to do as to where they are in growth and development, or because I'm sure like it's not a formula or an exact thing that works for everybody, and I think it's really situational and environment based and geolocation based. But I have seen that might be where that particular MSP is at in growth. Do you think that has something to do with it?
I think the word is maturity.
Okay, thank you. That's a good.
Maturity is good, but I think market also matters. This is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like, it's important to recognize that people that have programs, that hey, I know the way, pay me. You just got to do what I say, and if you do it, you'll make all the money you need. Like, I want to be really gentle because like there's every time you simplify something, you remove nuance, which makes great headlines. But when you're in the mud and you don't know why it's not working, nuance is what saves you. And so like, it's really hard to say that, like, hey, if you just do it my way, you'll be successful. Like maybe, but when it's not, what's the solution then? So like, yeah, maybe it's niche down, but maybe your market is a little bit different and there's some nuance involved in that niching. Maybe the niche isn't an industry. Maybe there's another niche, another way to define it that gets you that niche you're looking for. And there is some nuance there that's going to matter. But a third of MSPs just do whatever the plan is. Yeah, and you'll be super successful. What about the rest of us? Like, there's that nuance involved.
I agree a lot. Maturity and market are all factors. Think of like trying to sell, ice to an Eskimo, right? And it's kind of like the market. If you're an ice salesman, you're gonna have to think. You're gonna have to have a nice saturated. There's got to be a reason that Eskimo is gonna buy from you, or it's like selling sand in the desert, right? So the market is critical. I do also think that, as I think most of us on this call are entrepreneurs, and you're right, Luis. A lot of us have gone through phases of growth and understanding, and we've learned things along the way. Both Dennis and Lyle and Steve have all shared personal stories of some, where they started and what brought them to where they are right now, and things. Man, if I could go back, I would do this, right? So it's, there's no like by the book straight answer to like how to run an IT business, right? There are the general foundations though, right? That you have to have an understanding of. And if you don't, you will learn them. The forces of nature will teach them to you. Paul, I want to welcome you. You're coming in right at the end. We are literally going to be hopping off in moments, but I wanted to welcome our partner from Minnesota. You're personally in Florida right now, correct?
Correct. I live in Florida. My business is based out of Minnesota, but we're making a really great effort of making it 50-50.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens at the end of the year if we achieve that goal.
So drop some knowledge for us, Paul, as we wrap up here. I'm not sure how much of the conversation you've been able to be privy to, but like this whole conversation of like market fit, knowing what to charge, the reasons buyers don't take, like they don't see the value. What's your overall just kind of like observation?
The reason why a lot of customers don't see the value a lot of times is, especially with security. I just had a podcast just before this. That's what I was on. Is it hasn't hit close enough to home. When something hits close to home, like when the airlines got hit, Delta wasn't ready, kind of thing. But Sprint with old technology didn't have a problem. Not Sprint, Spirit. So it's really trying to find those stories that are close to your customer that make them feel, oh shit, that could have been me.
Yeah. I think you're onto something there with stories, because and close to home, if you show me the impact, right? You show me the impact and I'm going to understand the value a lot more. So AI is a perfect example right now in our space, I think. And we're going to wrap up in like 30 seconds here. So if you have thoughts on this, drop them in the chat later. But AI right now, I think, is causing a tremendous amount of confusion for buyers of IT services right now, because they're getting hit 6 ways from Sunday with marketing on the TV, on their mobile device. And then they've got folks like you coming and saying, hey, let's have a conversation about AI. And there's a lot of ambiguity around it. It's like, oh, well, what can AI do for you, my business? Anything, everything, all the things. It's like, okay, great. What's the impact? That's, so having stories, specific stories that you can articulate business outcomes, is going to help frame the value in a way that's like, oh, no way. You're telling me that with this process, we can reduce X by Y and increase this over here, and we're going to save time, increase revenue, all these other things. Now you're speaking the language of the customer. You're not speaking the language of the technology. So stories, I agree with you, Paul. Very important. All right, we are out of time, everybody. So glad you are here. We will very likely do this again in a couple of weeks. We'll do them sporadically. If this was valuable to you, drop some encouragement in the chat and keep your eyes peeled for the next one. And we'll catch you all next time. So Luis, Lyle, Dennis, Paul, Steve, and Jess, who was here with us for some of this as well. Glad you were all here. And we'll catch you next time.
See you.
See you guys.